If you drive in Atlanta, you know what I'm about to say. Some of these intersections are a nightmare, and you probably have driven 3 of them this week alone, not even realizing how dangerous they are. But when you look at the crash data, what is happening at these intersections is alarming. Today, we're going to count down the 5 most dangerous intersections in Metro Atlanta. And I'm going to show you what makes each of them so bad, what Georgia is or isn't doing about it, and whether you travel through these intersections on your daily commute. And everybody loves a good countdown, so let's jump right into it. Coming in at number 5, we head southwest to the southwest side of the perimeter, the I-285 and Cascade Road interchange. If you have ever merged onto 285 from Cascade, you already know the problem. The merge lanes are way too short. You are trying to get up to highway speed in about 200 feet, while the traffic already on 285 is doing 60 plus and has no intention of letting you in. But here's what makes this interchange particularly nasty. It is not just a merge problem. You have people entering 285 at the same time people are trying to merge over quickly to get to an exit as well. And so you have vehicles accelerating, decelerating, and changing lanes all at the same time within the same 200 yards. The speed differentials are significant, and the margin for error is basically zero. Rear-end collisions and sideswipe wrecks are what happen most frequently at this interchange. And when there is a crash, the problem is it's in a merge zone. So you've got this messy situation of multiple vehicles and usually multiple stories of who's at fault. Has Georgia DOT addressed this issue? Not really. The ramp is still geometrically the same. The merge lanes have not been extended, and the traffic volume on this stretch of 285 is only increasing, not going down. So for now, if you are merging here, give yourself space, time to get up to proper speed, and assume that no one around you is paying attention, because they probably aren't. Number 4 takes us to Gwinnett County, the Jimmy Carter Boulevard and I-285 interchange. If you live in Gwinnett County, you'll already know this intersection. Jimmy Carter Boulevard carries some of the heaviest surface street traffic in the county, and the I-285 interchange turns into a bottleneck where highway traffic dumps onto the road that was never designed for this volume. The signature crash at this interchange is a left turn. A driver sees what looks like a gap in oncoming traffic, commits to the turn, and gets hit broadside by a car that was moving faster than they expected. It happens over and over at this intersection because the sight lines are deceptive. The traffic is very dense, and the mix of commercial trucks, passenger vehicles, and unfamiliar drivers makes timing a left turn at this intersection very, very difficult. Gwinnett County has made signal improvements in this area over the years, but the fundamental issue has not changed: the layout. The interchange still funnels too much traffic through too little space. And when multiple vehicles are involved in a crash here, figuring out what happened becomes a real puzzle sometimes. And everybody was trying to navigate the same impossible geometry at the same time. So stories are different. And again, just like our last example, oftentimes it's a multiple vehicle wreck, which makes it even more complicated to figure out who is at fault. Number 3, and honestly, this one could be number 1, depending on what day you're on this. And this is the downtown connector. We all know it. But before we get into it, I want to say something about number 2. Number 2 on this list is an intersection I personally drive through most days of the week. And after all these years, it still gives me an adrenaline spike every single time. We will get there, but first, the interchange, the connector. Two major interstates, obviously. You've got I-85 and I-75. They merge into a single corridor running right through the center of Atlanta. During rush hour, we all know, you sit bumper to bumper for an hour. Then it opens up, and then the second it opens up, everybody guns it. You go from 10 miles per hour or less to 60 in a quarter of a mile. That transition is where the chain reaction pileups happen. One person is not paying attention, hits the car in front of them, and suddenly we've got 5 to 6 vehicles involved. If you have ever driven the corridor, this connector, during peak hours, you have seen the aftermath of one of these wrecks. Mangled cars on the shoulder, emergency vehicles blocking lanes, and traffic backed up for miles. Now, Georgia has talked about the connector for years. The reality is there is no easy fix. You cannot widen it. You cannot reroute the traffic. The city grew up around it, and now more vehicles use it every day than ever. And it wasn't designed for this much volume. So we were stuck with it. And it's going to keep getting these types of wrecks produced over and over. Something that fundamentally changes about Atlanta moving people around is the only thing that is going to change anything. And that's not going to happen. I am not holding my breath that this one will ever become a safer connector. Now, on to number 2. This is where the highway meets the city in the worst possible way, and that's Moreland Avenue and the I-20 interchange. So at this interchange, drivers come off of the I-20 ramp at a speed and hit a traffic light they aren't prepared for. If the light has already turned, some of them blow right through it. This is not an exaggeration. If you drive through this interchange regularly, you have seen it. Red light running at Moreland and I-20 is a consistent problem. The conflict point is the gap between highway speed and surface street behavior. So coming off of I-20. Someone coming off of I-20 at 60, for instance, is still thinking like a highway driver. They are not expecting a red light, a left-turning vehicle, or a pedestrian crossing the walkway. And by the time they adjust to that, it's already too late. Atlanta has installed some traffic monitoring in the area, but the fundamental problem is the ramp design. It delivers highway speed traffic directly into a surface street. Until that design changes, this intersection is going to keep catching people off guard, and wrecks are going to continue to happen. And now number 1. No surprise here if you drive in Atlanta. The I-285 and Georgia 400 interchange in Sandy Springs. Man, this interchange, if you know, you know. This merge between I-285 and Georgia 400 handles massive volume through a configuration that confuses people who drive it every single day. Northbound Georgia merging onto westbound I-285, people who drive it every single day know it requires you to cross multiple lanes in a very short distance. Everyone is at highway speeds. The lane markings are unclear, and people make sudden, desperate moves because they are about to miss their exit. The crashes at this intersection tend to be severe because the speeds are so high, and the impacts are obviously very violent. This is not a fender bender intersection. When vehicles collide at 55 or 60 miles an hour, or even more, in the middle of a lane change, the results are serious. Now, as we all know, Georgia DOT has put in significant money into this interchange over the years. Georgia 400 and I-285 interchange improvement project has been going on for years, and it's just starting to wrap up. But if you drive it today, you know it still does not feel completely safe. The volume is too high, the geometry is too confusing, and the merge and the margin for error is too small. That is the pattern across all 5 of these intersections and interchanges. The intersections were designed for much less traffic than it carries today. The danger is built into the infrastructure, and until Georgia puts serious money into redesigning these spots, regular people are going to keep paying the price. So those are my 5, and I know I have missed yours. Drop the intersection you think should be on the list in the comments. If enough of you name the same spot, I will do a deep dive into that intersection. Next up, I'm going to talk about what happens in the first 48 hours after a crash at one of these intersections and why that window matters more than most realize. I'm Ted Spaulding. I'm a personal injury attorney here in Atlanta. If you or someone you know has been hurt in one of these intersections, Spaulding Injury Law does free consultations. Link is in the description. I'll see you on the next one.